helping me out. So for all right, coach. So it's we have entered. Let's just, you know what, I know you love Ferdy, and I know that we were going to be able to see you guys this week with the social distancing. We were going to try and get together, and it kind of like we're staying apart because it's what the thing to do right now. You got your mom. How old's Ruth? Your mom?
Oh man, 73.
Ruth's 73. My dad's 71. My mom's 72. Well, my mom's gonna be 72. So they're the big ones that we are trying to protect in this whole coronavirus COVID-19 thing, right?
Well, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I had a couple days I had real bad allergies, man. I get them every this time of the year. My mom needed a few things, and I went to the grocery store, and I'm kind of walking around, and at one point, man, I felt like I had to sneeze, and it's just like I didn't, like I held it in because the height of where people are at right now emotionally, with this is it's scary. I mean, even when I went to my mom's house, I mean, like I said, I knew I had allergies, but I kind of did the exchange where I just dropped stuff off on the back porch and wiped it down, and I'm just trying to be really careful, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're in such a situation right now. Hey, Ferd, go ahead and head in with Mom real quick, okay? Mom's got to talk to you. Okay? All right, yep, go ahead. I'll see you back here in a little bit. But we're in a situation right now. It's real delicate, obviously. I mean, first things first. They have postponed. They keep saying they've postponed the Ohio State wrestling tournament. Now they're postponing the United States. They're postponing the World Olympics. Right? The Tokyo 2020 Olympics is at least 2021, right? Why do you think Ohio is waiting to cancel their events?
I think the OHSAA is really, really trying to do what's best for all the kids. I know they're in a tough spot right now. If there's any way they can make it work, I know they'd like to try to do it. That being said, wrestling's a different animal. I see it as being extremely difficult to have the state tournament this year, especially with the way things are trending currently. That being said, our kids, I had kids hitting me up on Sunday night, 2 hours before the announcement, right after the announcement, as far as everything being shut down this week, and they're asking about, if they can work out this week, and it's like, so our guys are. They're still anxious, and they sure would like to do it, but they're also realists, and they're smart kids. So it's just one of those things where they're just going to deal with what they can deal with right now, and control. They got to control the controllables and not worry about the uncontrollables at this point.
You think about, you guys were in this really good position, Elyria. You had a 20 to 0 lead over St. Edward in the dual state championship. They come back and they beat you 36-30. So just madness all around. You're right there to beat St. Edward and Brecksville. There's a couple other Division I programs right in the mix. This is a tough one for you guys to swallow because you were in a position to win the tournament this year. You know what I mean? Like, how do you explain that to your guys? How do you explain that to, Dylan Shawver never won a state title in Ohio. He might go down, if we don't have the tournament, he might go down as one of the best guys to never win, right? He's pretty good. How do you explain it to guys like that? How do you explain it to, Mick Burnett might not get another shot at winning another state title. He got one last year, but how do you explain it to your sons? How do you explain it to those kids, Erik?
So when this first started going down, man, like that Tuesday before the state tournament, of course, you had the Arnold Classic and what happened there. People started asking questions. Are we going to be able to get this tournament in and things like that? So, of course, on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday that week, there was an announcement that they were going to have the tournament with limited fans, and I was pissed. You know what I mean? But I had to, you gotta wait. Okay, you gotta wait. You gotta hesitate. You gotta educate, and you gotta figure out a way to relate. All right, because I didn't know what was going on. I was angry that my kids weren't going to have an opportunity, potentially. I was angry that their grandparents, if they did wrestle, their grandparents weren't going to get to go watch them in the tournament. But I didn't know the gravity of the situation at that point. Obviously, our kids didn't. So the next day, on Wednesday, the kids are asking about it, and I'm like, hey, everything, our management's been control the controllables and don't worry about what you can't control. So, we went that way with it, knowing that on Thursday, there could be some craziness happening. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is perspective. Okay, the more you educate yourself, and of course I don't know enough about the situation, but I got to trust the people that are in charge and the medical professionals that I've talked to. They know what they're doing. So when you're talking to your kids about it, yeah, okay, you might not get your opportunity to be a state champion. You might not get a chance to win it again. Okay, but moving forward, okay, what are you going to do? Is this going to be your defining moment? Was last year your defining moment? I mean, your defining moments are hopefully in the future, right? So regardless of whether you have a state tournament this year or not, you were going to continue to make your name in the future. And I think that's resonating with our kids. I think and I hope that that's making sense with them. Because, I mean, really, what else can you do? You're not going to sit around and just be pissed off about it forever, right? You got to move forward, and you got to I don't know, you got to make the best of it. Spend time with your family right now.
What are you guys doing on a daily basis? You obviously have two of the guys on your team who are qualifiers, Mick and Nate, both returning placers or returning champ. And we're in this like no contact zone. We're in this like stay home zone. I know that you guys have access to a big training facility. But like, what do you do with them if you don't go to the training facility? What is it full out Rocky at the Burnett's right now in Elyria? What are you guys doing?
So my workout took me a little bit longer because I couldn't find the jump rope I liked. That's because Big Dog was out in the garage with my favorite jump rope. So, yeah, of course. I never had to tell my sons to work out. They've always kind of done it on their own.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see, man. We got a dog on Friday, and Mick took off with the dog and went for a run. And it's just cool to see them do that. I let our wrestlers know on our team they need to set up a routine. They need to have something. And I'm talking more for mental health than physical health. I know that they're going to do stuff and stay in shape and things like that. That's just how they are. Most of these kids have grown up just exercising, being physical. But you have to have a routine. And I don't care if you get up at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, whatever. I would prefer they wouldn't sleep until noon. But you got to have a routine. And I shared with them what I've tried to keep as a routine for me. And I'm hoping that that's what's happening right now, just for their own mental health. You can't get sucked into this. I mean, it can cause depression. If you just sit around your house and you don't do anything and you got nothing to really keep you going for now, that's not a good thing.
My wife said the social media is a big trap right now. A lot of people are on there, and it's obviously pretty divisive right now in America, and whose fault this is, and response, and all these other different things. But my wife's like, that's not healthy for you to sit there and stare at your screen. It's like obviously very unhealthy. And we have kids that right now, they don't know what to do with themselves. It's crazy.
And the one thing you can't do is sit around and be pissed off. That's the one thing you can't do. It's just not healthy. Okay, there are things that they can do, and it might take a day or two. Okay, but they're gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? And at least I know the kids that we've worked with. All right, whether it's Elyria, Perrysburg, BTW, whatever. These kids are resourceful and they're good kids, and they're gonna figure out what to do. Whether it's, hey, right now they're telling everybody, go to a park. Right? Go to a park. You got a park right by you, right? It's amazing. Okay, so maybe things that we took for granted before, in light of what's going on, right? And like I said, I don't want to diminish, okay, the importance of what happened. Okay, that these kids lost their wrestling tournament, that basketball lost their tournament, hockey, the NCAA. I get it. Okay, I understand that importance. But what do you do about it? Okay, what do you do about it? Do you make the best of it? Do you make the most of it? Like I said, we got a dog, right? We never had time to have a dog before. We couldn't have one. We couldn't properly take care of him. Now we got a dog. Our kids are taking the dog for a run. You know what I mean? They're hanging out. They're watching movies. Last night we watched Monty Python, for crying out loud. Man, the Holy Grail, right? It's like Nate Dog and I, it's just things like that, man. And you got to make the most of it, man. Right? That's what we're trying to do.
So as far as kids, you guys do a really good job at Elyria of getting kids to the next level. And I know that the big thing with you and your dad was a steel worker in Lorain, and your dad's big thing was, use wrestling to create opportunities for you in life, education, and you kind of bucked the system there for a while. You were going to work at a machine shop, and your dad was just not having that. And then you started working in like court system, right? You started doing
initially I was with the court, yes, yeah.
Probation, but now you're like basically you are a school home counselor, and what you do is you go around and make sure kids that are complying with the law. Because in the state of Ohio, and like I think most states, you either got to be online, homeschooled, or you got to be attending either a public school, right? That's the deal here in Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, House Bill 410 has it broken down to basically where I come into play is 3 different thresholds. If a kid gets to 30 consecutive unexcused hours of absence, or 42 in a month, or 72 in a school year, if they're on unexcused hours of absence, that's when I intervene, typically with an intervention plan. Now, there's intervention prior to that, and the major difference with that bill being that they've broken it down to hours and minutes at this point. So, yeah, I have a broad caseload. There are 3 of us in our department in Elyria, and man, it keeps me on my toes daily. I meet some amazing people. I get to work with some amazing families and coworkers, and so yeah, I mean, when you talk about like taking wrestling to another level, without wrestling, I'm not doing that. There's no way. Without Clarion University, I'm not doing that. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, you got to go there.
Fork in the road. Let's just say fork in the road. Would you be involved in wrestling at the level that you've been involved had you stayed at the machine shop? Fork in the road. What do you think?
I just don't think it would have been. I don't think it would have been permissible, man. I think what my dad was telling me at the time is like, you can get locked into these hours, and eventually you're probably going to be too tired to coach. At least on the level that I was hoping to coach. So yeah, my dad gave me a lot of good advice in my life, but I think right there that was definitely a fork in the road type of moment, and I'm glad that I took his advice there. Because it was intriguing for me at that point.
If you look at guys that you have in college right now, obviously Ben Darmstadt's the one I think of. He's an Elyria guy. Him and JT Brown were both qualifiers, right? JT's at West Point. Ben's at Cornell. And did they wrestle at the EIWAs? Did they wrestle?
Yeah, they wrestled. Yeah.
Ben won, right?
Ben won, yeah. I waited to hear the score. I didn't watch it. We were at our district tournament, and that's one of those things. I love both of those kids, man, and I figured I would watch it at some point. But yeah, they both competed so well. Of course, both qualified for the NCAA, so we were thrilled, man, thrilled.
So when I talk about the next level, you got the Clarion, which Clarion is probably academically on par with like a Kent State. These 2 guys we're talking about who were state champs for you and went through your little kid program all the way up. We got a Cornell guy and we got a West Point guy, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever, like when you're early on doing this and you start up with was it 98 you started in Elyria? 98?
97, 98 was first year.
So Gillespie's senior year, my senior year of high school. Me, Scotty, Gillespie senior year. Yeah. Was that ever a thought in your mind, like, we're going to send guys to Cornell and West Point? Did you ever think that was going to happen out of Elyria, Ohio?
It's kind of crazy because when those guys were like, when Ben started taking hard classes in high school, I only tutored him like 2 nights a week, man. So I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to come through and make obviously a kid. Breeding, man. Breeding.
Yeah, breeding's at Princeton. You got a Princeton guy.
Yeah. No, those guys are this world, man. I mean, they were beyond me in 8th grade, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how about Josh's dad? It was a cop, and I think you could take all the brain power that you 2 have together, and he's probably got it in like a small pinky toe or something. The dude's a genius.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's a freak.
Talking to Josh, fortunately, we have the same sense of humor, so we have a lot of fun with that. But other than that, man, that dude dusts me.
Okay, so when we talk about this moving forward, we got the new normal is what I keep hearing. What's the new normal at Eric Burnett? It's a dog now, apparently. A dog's in there somewhere. But what's
Yeah.
your new normal? I don't even know what my new normal is. I guess my new normal is like hiking a bunch, which
Yeah, right.
I like love. Right? My old school resource officer sent me a text. He's like, I know you love this right now. But I like dealing with kids, obviously. But like, at what point are we going to get to this new normal? Like, I can only do so many hiking trails with my kids. You know what I mean? Like, we did 3 miles today, but like, what is the new normal for the Burnett family?
It's kind of like where you're at, man. Okay, I mean, today, I was up at 7 o'clock or so and had a little something to eat, and then whatever I kind of planned. I had a giant box. J-Bone got me a nice big TV for Christmas, man, and it sat in a box until basically yesterday.
Who's J-Bone?
Like I said,
the viewers don't know who J-Bone is. Huh?
J-Bone's Janet. That's my wife.
Okay, well, the viewers don't know that. I know that.
Okay, yeah. So she hooked us up. But we, how it is with wrestling season, man. That TV sat in a corner. We didn't even get out of the box, man. So yesterday, Mick helped me out. And we got it all set up, and but I had this box, man, this huge box. So one of my lists on my agenda today was to take that box out there and burn it, man. So I had a couple of phone calls to make, check my emails this morning. Had a cup of coffee. Had some phone calls to make. I did it while I was burning boxes, right? Burning boxes. And the dog got to play around. We were throwing a stick around, man. He's well trained. I can't take any credit for it. He sits. He lays down. He comes to me whenever. But that's not me. That's the trainer at the APL, man. And then got to go work out, right? And here I am talking to you now. So that's the new normal. Figure out something every day that you need to do tomorrow. Dude, you got to see my garage, man. I got to get in there. I got stuff to do right now, man. But take it every day and trying to, got to stay up on work, checking emails there, and just trying to stay in touch with what's happening right now,
Will there be Burnett trained wrestling camps? Do we even know that?
Who knows, man? I was just talking to Keith Gavin this morning on the phone, man, about that type of stuff. There's so many unknowns right now. I don't know. It's it all depends. You talk about flattening the curve. If people do what I think, if we do what we're supposed to do right now, it's only going to expedite when we get going. I think, So I hope everybody's trying to do their part like we are, and that way we can get this thing back on the road. But yeah, right now summer camps are unknown.
What are the dates?
People.
What are the dates right now? What are the dates right now, tentatively?
Tentatively, wow, I got this thing right in front of me. June 7th through the 11th was going to be the first 5-day camp. We had one May 8th to May 8th and 9th. You know what I mean, man? These are May 8th and 9th are right around the corner.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen.
No, I can't see it. We're shut down. We're not training anybody. And that I don't know when that's gonna start up again. But obviously we want to have the camps, but we gotta be responsible about it as well.
So in talking to Coach Gavin, obviously I talked to Coach Gavin. That's a great relationship that you guys obviously built. Tell me about the recruiting process, Eric. This just doesn't have to be about coronavirus, man. We can talk. It's some sure world I'm living in it. Tell me about the recruiting process for Mick Burnett. You yourself were a 4-time state champ in Ohio, and you always tell the Dave Schultz story from Brecksville real quick, and how you figured out and learned some really harsh reality as a high school senior.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of great advice, and the majority of it I took. The one piece of advice I didn't really take from anybody was keeping my grades up. And the irony of the situation is I actually did a little better my senior year than I had throughout, especially my sophomore and junior year. But the damage was done. Dave Schultz was at Wisconsin at the time. Came to the Brecksville tournament, and after the finals, he came up to me. He was very nice. Obviously, I was in awe. It was Dave Schultz. And he basically said, hey, good luck to you. We're not going to be recruiting you. Your grades are a risk. And that was pretty much it. He wasn't mean in any way. Like I said, he was very nice. But man, you talk about a reality check at that point because, schools talk and they find things out. Back in 1986, 87, man, there wasn't any internet and boards and things like that. So there was a lot happening over the phone, I would imagine. And so, yeah, a lot of the calls for me kind of backed off. It was a tough lesson. But the thing is it carried with me. It impacted my development, my first year in college, maybe even my second year in college. And that's something that I hoped with the kids that I work with, the kids that Scotty and I work with, and our coaching staff at Elyria, we're trying to impart that knowledge on these kids where you don't want to have a struggling year or two because you set yourself back academically. You just don't want that. And especially now, because now schools don't want to. I mean, Clarion rolled the dice with me. How many schools out there can do that now with a kid who's not a qualifier? I mean, it's, you don't want to put yourself in that situation, especially when you're smart enough. And I joke around a lot about not being the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I clearly was smart enough to get the job done in the classroom and chose not to. And that's disappointing. And but once again, you don't want to have kids have to learn the hard way.
It's crazy because you and Danny Mitch have followed this like parallel thing. You did like a parallel thing. He was a non-qualifier. It was called Prop 48 when you were in college, when you were in high school. And then it became a non-qualifier when the first year you could be a non-qualifier was like 97, 98, I want to say was the first year you were a Prop 48 and then it became non-qualifier, right? You didn't have the high enough ACT, SAT score to go, and it's a core score that goes with your GPA. Right. Obviously, something that Breeding, JT Brown, and Darmstadt don't have to worry about, right? But like when
no, once again, lots of hours you spent after practice working on those practice tests together.
Those guys are geniuses, but like someone like you and Danny, you were in that position, right? Whether I think his was like he transferred schools and he had some counselors that weren't here together, and I think that's what happened. That's what happened with Danny, I believe, right?
Yeah, Danny. What happened with Danny was not his fault.
Yeah, it was school. It was transfer.
Yeah, he had the scores he needed. He worked hard in the classroom. It was just an unfortunate thing. But you know how Danny is. Danny's a grinder, and that wasn't on him.
So Danny had to do this thing where if he could graduate, and I think he got his year back if he graduated on time like he was supposed to. I think he did like a special thing because Jimmy's always told me about it. And Tracy's always told me like he had to do this special thing where you can take a chance on a kid. It's a rule where if they do, they can get a year back essentially rather than lose that year. Because that first year, my brother Chad was a Prop 48 like you, and in that first year, in that first year you can't be on the team.
No, we couldn't do anything, man. I was wrestling with like a local high school kid, man. You know what I mean? It was like you couldn't have anything to do with the team, or if they had a wrestling club, you couldn't have any part of it.
That's so crazy. It just like blows my mind. But like, so they took a chance on you, and then you had this real unconventional path where you're a 4-time state champ. You weren't an All-American until your 5th year, right?
97, 91, 92. Yeah, exactly. And it was a really weird thing. I mean, I was Prop 48, then I got hurt, so I actually had a red shirt the next year. Then I had 3 years because you lost a year. You didn't get that year back. So you had 4 years to compete in 3. So that was pretty much the path I had. But I did have a red shirt year.
So you were only able to make 3 NCAA tournaments.
Right.
Okay. And did you make 3?
Yeah, I qualified 3 times. Yeah.
3 times. You probably would have qualified. Yeah, you probably would have qualified 4, but you lost that year.
Yeah, well, you never know. But yeah, I mean, the first year I went 0-1, man. It was like when you had follow your man to the finals. Yeah. So that was awesome. Going 0-1, and my dad and my brother drove all the way to Maryland. And I felt so bad. They drove to watch me wrestle. They ended up sitting in the stands eating Dippin' Dots with me all weekend, which was cool to hang out with them, but I'm sure that's not why they came.
Hey, one of the other years that you didn't which year did you wrestle the Perler guy?
That was my junior year. Yeah.
So was that Carver Hawkeye? Tell that story real quick. You're wrestling which Perler? Nick Perler, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Nick.
You're at Carver Hawkeye wrestling an Okie State guy.
Yeah, it was wild, man. It was wild, and it was one of those things you don't even think about it. And I ended up catching him. The guy was really good. obviously, and I caught him. And then when the match ended, so they called the pin, and Carver Hawkeye went nuts. And I mean, probably I don't know how many fans they had in one section of the arena, but they went crazy. And so of course you stand up, you're feeling like you're some kind of stud, and they don't even know you. I mean, it's like you just beat a guy that they needed you to beat.
It's like the Elyria fans are cheering for some dude from LaSalle, right? It would be like the Elyria fans, or like the St. Ed's fans would be cheering from a dude from Toledo, from Start or Perrysburg to beat an Ed's guy, right? Like, or beat an Elyria guy. It would be like that, right?
Yeah. I pretty much guarantee you nobody from Iowa knew a guy named Erik Burnett from Clarendon University. That's not happening.
And then did you lose in the quarterfinals that year?
Yeah, I lost to Zappadel from Iowa.
So then they loved it. Then they loved it.
No, I lost to Zappadel my senior year in the quarters. Okay, my junior year, Zappadel beat me in the first round. So the first round, I lost to Zappadel, and then I won 2 matches in a row. The second one being Perler.
Oh, so you wrestled Perler in the Concies.
Yeah.
So you eliminated him from the tournament in the Concies.
What's that?
You eliminated him from the tournament in the Concies.
Yeah, I believe that's how that went. Yeah.
And then talk about your round of 12 match your junior year.
Yeah, I got beat up. It was 0-0 going to the third period. I was wrestling Adam Darangowski, a rider, and he pretty much smashed me one other time at the Wilkes Open up at Wilkes-Barre. And so going to the third period, let me see. Yeah, first period went 0-0. Second period, I had choice, and I was scared, so I went neutral. And I knew I needed to get a takedown. It's imperative I get a takedown. I didn't. So third period, I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. And he picked top.
You want Mitch Clark?
Yeah, he went top. Yeah,
Mitch Clark.
So yeah, that wasn't pretty. It was I think he turned me 3 times, got a riding point, then it beat me 8-0.
So today that would be 13-0.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh yeah.
13-0, right?
Right. Yeah. 4 backwards. Sure. Yeah. Thanks for making it.
Okay, so here's what I've noticed about Elyria guys. Let's just say Graham guys, right? I'll take Graham guys as an example. Early 2000 Graham guys would go to college and they were struggling. And then he figured it out. Jeff figured it out, like you figured it out. Well, our guys got to get good on top. They got to get off the mat. And I think obviously you knew that from 1991 NCAA tournament. You knew that, right? And that's what you really focused on from the next year. And then you were an All-American as a senior, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was so much time spent on the mat, man. Even my junior year. I mean, I spent time working on the mat my junior year. I just wasn't there, man. And especially with a guy like Darangowski. And we talk about it all the time about mental makeup. I just wasn't there. And I think I was pretty good on the bottom, but I wasn't there. I wasn't where I needed to be. My senior year, I was mentally there. I had it. You know what I mean? I figured out technique and things like that, but I was there mentally. That's what we've tried to do with all these kids. You get a guy like Ben Darmstadt, whose best positions are top and bottom. Josh Breeding, his best position was top in high school. JT Brown, he won a state semifinal match with a big tilt when he was a senior in high school. And typically our guys are pretty good at getting off the bottom, at least in high school, and then you hope that's going to carry over to college, or at least they keep developing on the bottom.
And, because it's been you guys, Ohio, we've had to evolve because PA is so much better on the mat than us. I think it's a cultural thing, but you've really done a really good job. Obviously, Jeff Jordan did a really good job of it. St. Ed's has always done a really good job of it because they got such a broad schedule they see so many guys who are good on the mat. But you guys, you figured it out. It was like, we're going to have to figure this out and get better, or we're not going to be very good. We're not going to be in the top, all the rankings. We're not going to win Ironman, and all that type of stuff just doesn't happen for you if you don't get better on the mat.
No, you're exactly right. But it's up to the kids. You know what I mean? You can do all the top and bottom drills you want, man, but if they look at bottom and top in practice, like rest time or screw off time or whatnot, then they're not going to get better. That's one of the things. We try to mix it up in practice. I know sometimes, some of the kids on the team will feel like it's a little regimented, but we try to mix it up, and maybe we'll do top at the beginning, or maybe we do takedown right to a turn, or, we try to mix it up to keep it more interesting for the high school kids. But it's like, if you end up doing turns you know what I mean, for a portion of your practice, and they're spending time laying around on each other, you know, kind of grab ass and whatnot, well, they're not going to get better on top. Then when they really want it, even if they got to hold a guy down for 20 seconds, you know what I mean, at the end of a period, it may not be there for them, you know?
Yeah, I mean the mat wrestling is just so crucial to what we do going to the next level. Okay, recruiting. I kind of touched on it earlier a little bit, but tell me about your recruiting experience. Was very different for Mick Burnett. Mick Burnett was a borderline Ivy League school guy. Mick Burnett was a guy who had test scores to get into UVA. He could have got into the schools that you would have dreamed to get. He could have got into Wisconsin, right? Obviously, but like those places, the door was shut for you. It's a very different process for you as a father with your kid who's a state champ. He's a runner-up, and then 6 as a freshman, right?
Yeah.
6, 2, 1 is what he's going to end up probably being. That's how we're going to categorize him, right? 2-time Ironman placer. So he's really good. What was the recruiting process like for you? Because, you've been through it so many times with so many different kids, but now it's your own kid. What was it like for you in the recruiting process?
Well, it's easy. It's easier to help other kids and their families. When it's not. I don't know much about people's financial where they're at financially. Okay, and that was the difference with Mick. We didn't. A couple of places he really liked, they just didn't have the scholarship money available, and it just was what it was. You know what I mean? They got 9.8 scholarships they're using right now, and it's like, so they're looking at financial aid, and but then you have, it's always going to come down to that fit. What's going to be the right fit? You know what I mean? What's it going to be academically, socially, geographically, and financially? What's the best fit? And for Mick, when Pitt jumped into the mix in the summertime. And the only, I guess, the reason they were late jumping in was because they didn't know what weight he was going to go. They were thinking 33, I think, and they were very crowded down low. When they realized that he was going to be a 41, possibly 49 in college, that opened up a lot of opportunity for him at Pitt, and it was really cool. I mean, as far
Erik, lost you for a little bit. I'm going to try and get Coach Burnett back on here. Let's see what we got. You got me back? Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got you back. They were crowded down low, and they were crowded down low is where I lost you.
Yeah, they just, when they found out he was going to be a 41, maybe 49, that's when the opportunities opened up at Pitt, and it was just outstanding. I mean, it was outstanding. Going out, checking the campus out. I'd been there before, but not in this capacity. Getting to know the coaches and just looking at their culture, man. And we talked about this before. Having a kid 2 hours and 15 minutes away from home doesn't hurt either. Whether he wants us around or not, that'll be up to him. But just to know that we could be there, or he can get home if need be, that's really cool.
You're not going to hear any bad thing about Pitt for me, man. I love Pittsburgh, and the proximity from downtown, because it's in Oakland, right? It's not even in Pittsburgh proper, right? It's Oakland.
Right.
That's one of the greatest city campuses I've ever been to. Like, I don't think it's even close, to be honest with you. The city's great. The people are super friendly. And they've had some upgrades with facilities and other different things like that. And the resources are there to win. You can win a national title at Pitt, and no one's going to be like, oh, a guy from Pitt won? I mean, They're scratching their head a little bit when the Clarion guys win, right? But when a Pitt guy wins, you should win a national title there.
I think things are in place. I think if you go in there with the right mindset and the right, the right attitude, you can do it. I mean, I look at what they did at the ACC tournament, man. They had an amazing tournament. And I think Coach Gavin and his staff, they really have it going in a great direction, man. I think you can do whatever you set your mind to, and if you're going to have the right habits, I think you can make it happen there.
And he's going to be on a team with guys like Matthews, Bonacorsi, Wenzel, obviously Philippi. I mean, they got guys, man. It is, when I look up and down their lineup, they're going to be really good for years to come. They obviously lose a 97 and a 285, who I thought were really good. But Man, look at the guys. Look at Bonacorsi. Look at the guys coming back with. I'm not talking like top 8. I'm talking these are top 4 guys.
Yeah,
They're really good.
yeah, and their culture is so good. Yeah, and that's what you need, especially now in these times.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Some other things I just noticed. We talked Olympics earlier. The Olympic Games are going to 2021. Some interesting things are going to present themselves. We have a Logan Stieber, who is from your club, who retired last year. And on the heels of an Olympic year, Logan Stieber must be pretty banged up to retire, because this is when everybody's gearing up and making that final run. He retires, and he won the world title in 2016 at a non-Olympic weight, one of the toughest weights I've ever seen. Could we see that guy back? Is that something do you think that we could see in the future?
I don't know. I don't know. Logan and I, when we talk, when we have the opportunity to communicate, it's not about competing and things like that. It's about coaching and about his club and personal life, things like that. Just how things are going. I don't know. I don't know how healthy he is. Man, I don't know. I got nothing. I got no. I can't give any.
I'd like to see it. I don't even care if you know anything. I just like to see it.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Would you like to see it? I don't care if you know anything. That's not what I'm not trying to pull any info out of you. Wouldn't you like to see that?
Oh, for damn sure I'd like to see it. Yeah,
that's all I wanted. I didn't need no dirt. I'm not asking for dirt. I'm asking for, wouldn't we like to see that run?
Well, he's one of the best ever. I always love watching Logan wrestle.
Yeah, and now he's like married. Maybe she's like cooking him some food. Maybe he's gotten bigger and he can suck down. He's not a tweener anymore. I don't know. I'm being, I'm an optimist here. I don't know. My glass is 3/4 of the way full here, Bernie. We got to find some good out of this, don't we?
Right on. I'm with you.
Yeah. What's your brother doing? I'm gonna have to call him and talk to him. But what's your brother doing with Gray right now? Do you know?
I think pretty much the same thing we are, man. You know what I mean? They're having family. They're doing some family things together, and I think he's trying to drive Jody crazy because she's working out of the house too. So Scotty and I are both pretty good at that because J-Bone, she's working here. So
who's J-Bone? Who's J-Bone? The people don't know.
J-Bone, my wife.
Okay.
From home. So yeah, I get to between me and Bob, our dog. We're torturing her, and only in a good way, of course. So I think Scotty's doing a little bit the same with Jody. She's working from home right now, so I think they're having fun with that.
Okay, that's cool. And obviously Gray, he's one of those guys. He's gonna have to start getting some more mat time. And I know that your brother's focusing more on mat time and getting off the mat and winning on the mat, like you have done with your sons, right?
Yeah, Gray's bing bang bing bang bang. He's probably running around the house, man, playing some video games. He's such a good kid, dude.
Yeah.
He's just a great kid.
My kids love him.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time with him, man. The kid's awesome. So I'm sure they're making the most of this time.
What's the future hold for you? I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. I know a lot of hiking in my future. I know that, but what's the future hold the next 2 to 4 weeks? What do you think?
Yeah. Okay. So I got some stuff I'm going to do here in this office. I got some empty boxes here. I'm probably going to burn them in my fire pit. I like fire. I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
So do I.
Burn pit. Yeah, it's fun. I got a garage that needs to be cleaned out. I was hoping for maybe 10 degrees warmer outside. I can tackle that. I blew up the tire on my lawnmower, so that was flat for half the winter. But I blew that up, so maybe I'll get that ride that around a little bit. But yeah, I mean, pretty much anything that work asks me to do, and whatever else I need to do. I'm 50 years old. I gotta try to stay in shape. I gotta make time for something like that. Almost every day. So I got stuff to do.
Give me your best workout so far. What's your best workout you've done? Have you ran more than 2 miles with dumbbells in your hand? How long have you jump roped? Tell me the best workout you've done so far.
So I had yesterday and today. I kind of got back into this jump roping thing, man. So YouTube picked out a pretty good selection of music for me, man. And I just kind of got into it. So I intended on going 33 minutes. I ended up going 43 minutes.
Jump rope. Jump rope.
Jumping rope. Yeah.
You're 50. You're 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
You jumped rope for 43 minutes.
Oh, yeah, man. It's one of those things. I started doing when I was 10 years old. I didn't have the best feet. I started jumping rope, man, and I felt like it really helped me. Both my sons do it. But, yeah, I don't get tricky, okay? Because wrestle season ends. I try to wrestle. I do a lot of wrestling with the wrestlers, you know, and then but you also gotta walk around, make sure they're doing what they're doing. So I don't wrestle as much as I used to, but I wrestle. Consequently, I don't have as much of the cardio stuff, right? So then wrestling season ends, then I get back to running or cross training or doing whatever. But jumping rope has always been something I like. And as I get better, or as I get back into it a little bit more, maybe start to do some double jumps and crossovers, things like that. But not so much right now. Just trying to get it in. But like I said, you get caught up in the music. I mean, I had a playlist from basically when you and Scotty were toddlers, man. I had some Zap with Roger Troutman. I had some Rick James going today. I had some Long Way. I mean, it's crazy. You just get into it. You know, what are you gonna do? Next thing you know, 43 minutes is gone. You're like, you got a nice sweat going.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, hey,
Yeah.
you got anything else for me?
I don't know, man. Hopefully everybody just stays safe and they're smart. You know, there's time to train. You know, I talked to some dads that were talking about, you know, this is almost. I feel like this is August. You know, we take that downtime in August, and you know, the kids get back from Fargo, and it's downtime. We don't even know right now what you could be cycling for. You know what I mean? As far as your training cycles, what you're trying to peak for, we don't even have dates. So now is really an ideal time for some downtime as far as wrestling. You know, stay in shape. The kids can do it. They can do all kinds of stuff. Like, they can take a page out of your book, man. They hit the woods. They hit the parks. Tons of running trails. You know what I mean? Hey, maybe some of these kids might want to rollerblade, man. You know, I don't know, throw some rollerblades on. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do right now. But as far as wrestling goes, I think wrestling needs to take a back seat to what's happening right now in our country and around the world.
I don't know if I can have you leave on a better message than that, man. I mean, and you're the wrestling fanatic guru, the guy who got me back into it. So, stick around here. I'm gonna cut this live video. Thank you for the time. Stick around real quick, okay, Coach?
All right, right on. Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.